Hi, everybody. It's me again. And tonight's just going to be kind of a short one. My throat's really starting to bother me from my radiation. And so my voice might sound a little weird. It really sounded weird this morning. And it's just kind of in and out. And they had explained to me that that might be something that happens, that, my cancer is so close. When they radiated it, it can affect my voice. So, and it'll be fine. It's not going to be permanent, but I just wanted to let you know that in the next few days, if I sound weird, and that's probably because of the radiation, and, you know, it'll get better. So I'm tired, but I wanted to get this video out. I know it doesn't look like it. I don't look excited, but I'm actually very excited. Um, those of you that know Miriam Francis will understand a little bit of the excitement. She is for those that don't know, a former Scientologist, a second gen, I guess, maybe third. Honestly, I don't know, but at least a second gen. She was um, SA'd by her father from the age of 3, and she's been working for the last 12 years to try to bring him to justice over that. And it's my understanding that in Australia, where they're from, um, he has actually admitted to it. And I don't know how that's going, but she's trying to do something in the states, and she's being met with opposition from Scientology, of course, but specifically from the former head of OSA, the Office of Special Affairs, which is Mike Render, which was the topic of my video last night. And y'all, again, as a never in, I have always kind of felt like that I didn't have a right to have a big opinion on it, that I'm there to cheerlead the ones that do have a right to have an opinion on it. But then I got to thinking, we can be more than just a cheerleader. We can be a true ally. Like I'm an ally for my LGBTQ friends. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that. I'm so tired, y'all. But anyway, I'm an ally for those, and I don't just yay yay cheer. I try to put my money where my mouth is, kind of a deal. I try to be involved and everything as much as I can, and show them that I truly do support them. And sometimes that means stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit, and not just being a cheerleader, and really stepping up and showing that you support them. And I want Miriam to know that she doesn't know me. She may never know me, but I know her, and I see her, and I support her. And y'all, she started a new YouTube channel, and she has gotten a bunch of subscribers just today. I mean, she's over 1,000 already. And I mean, wow, I'm so excited over my little, like, 79, 80, somewhere in there. I can't imagine what it feels like to have 1,000, but she's the one with the story. And I'm just the one here, kind of telling along behind, and pushing it to people that maybe don't know her. Some of my subscribers are completely new to this Scientology thing, and they're here for when I do a haul or something. But this anti-Scientology movement, it's my passion right now. It feels like it's my calling. And I don't know, I'm going to read to you the response that Miriam made to the blog that Mike Rinder wrote several weeks ago now. I'm not going to read his blog, and I'll tell you the truth. You can go find it and read it. Just look up Mike Rinder blog, and you'll find it. Um, but I won't read it again. I have read it once, and I'm not going to go look at it again, because I'm not going to give him the views. That's just my little form of protest, I guess. I did screenshot it I believe, and I'm trying to find it, but we've got new phones and iPads and everything, and we've lost some stuff, and I don't know. I've got it somewhere, and so I'll try to post it or something. But I do want to read hers. I'm going to read it, and I'm doing it off of the transcript. So y'all bear with me a little bit because, like I said, I don't know how to do all that putting stuff on the screen, and I'll learn. But this is the best way I can do it. But sometimes I think that things work out for the best. And right now, I just feel like that every time someone reads, especially reads aloud, but just reads in general, Miriam's words, it's like it magnifies the audience or something. And I wish that all the content creators would read it out loud. I would love to see that. I would, you know, it's one thing for her to read it. It's wonderful and everything, but I just think that the more people that do read it out loud, say it out loud, that the better. And I'm sorry, Mike Rinder, I know you've done wonderful things. I'm not taking away from that. But you've also done some pretty shitty things. And I think that the way that you have treated Miriam and a lot of others, just, I'm sorry, sometimes the bad outweighs the good. And you don't get to take credit for everything that Leah Remini's show did. You don't get to take credit for all of that. Yes, you were involved, but you don't get to take full credit for that. You don't get to take credit for what the Aftermath Foundation has done. That's the foundation. It's not just you, no matter what you think. And that when you said that to Aaron, that when people think of the Aftermath Foundation, they think of you. No, they don't. And honestly, if that were true, I don't think your foundation would be doing very well because, like I said last night, people don't want to run towards the people that they've ran from, especially when the ones that they're running towards, that they ran from, are acting like the people that they ran from. And no more than I know, it triggers me. And I can't imagine what it does to those that lived it and saw you at your worst. And yes, I know that you've had 2 decades of trying to do good. And why you're choosing to fuck that up now is beyond me. Like, you've done good. Why would you just trash your legacy? You know? But that feels like what you're doing. So anyway, for all of you out there, I want you to go and subscribe to Miriam's channel. It is, let me put my glasses on, I'm blind. Her name is Miriam Francis, and it's called Rage Against the Dark Arts. And her video that she did today is Miriam responds to Mike Rinder. Now, granted, she's responding to something that he wrote a while ago, but she explains that, it takes her a minute. It just, I think she could have fired off a response and probably sounded more like I did last night. But she's taken the time to look at this and kind of calm down. And I think her words are brilliant. And I'm going to try to read it off like it's done as a transcript. So y'all, I'm going to try to figure out where all the punctuation and stuff is. So just forgive me, but I am going to read it. It's lengthy. It's not, crazy long, but it's lengthy. And let's just see how I do on this, okay? But I want you to pay attention. This is her words. It's not mine, it's hers. It says, Dear Mike Rinder, it's taken some time to get to the point where I've been ready to address your blog because this has been painful and You took information which was given to you under the guise of helping victims. You took information which was given to you under the guise of confidence and protection. And, be- and in between that, you carefully word your assumptions, representations, sorry, misrepresentations, I can't, you know the word I'm trying to say, y'all, and untruths about me. This has been painful for me. In order to address your blog, I'm going to focus on very specific points, which are the main aspects which were more hurtful to me personally while you invoked the names of several people. I wish to make it clear that this is personal between you and I, me, a victim of child sexual abuse, and you, one of the many people who kept me ignorant. You believe that you could get away with it because the people around you don't ask you questions. When you say they did it, no one ever asks you who or how, and you got used to that. Had I recorded our phone conversations, it would not have been illegal. And I never said that would have been under the guidelines of a pretext call. I'm allowed to record a phone conversation with anyone who had knowledge of the sexual abuse crimes that were committed against me as a child. I simply chose not to do an audio recording. However, I did take detailed notes from the phone contact onwards. From the phone contact onwards, you began to engage in harassment and intimidation of me. I was fearful of you. I wondered at what lengths you would go to destroy me because I knew the things about you that you don't want known. I had been looking at your crimes, staring into the dark underbelly of your past, and I knew what you were capable of. But what would you do to me? I wondered what could you possibly do, and then you posted my LAPD police report online and used my LAPD police report to attempt to support your claim that you provided information to the detectives. Yet the report itself detailed that the information that you provided was about the beliefs of Scientology. Beliefs don't commit crimes, do they, Mike Rinder? People commit crimes. And even if that was your point, a point which you were unable to prove, it wasn't necessary to put my LAPD police report on the internet in full and unredacted or in full and unredacted. Was it? Never mind that both mine and Cena, another child sexual assault victim's personal information was on display. But this is your callous disregard for child victims, isn't it, Mike Rinder? You placed my LAPD police report straight into Scientology's hands. You ensured that Scientology would not miss it by promoting it on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, right into the hands of the Office of Special Affairs. Your former office, you would know the links that they would go to prevent a case like mine from going forward. You, as the former head of OSA, who oversaw all legal matters, you would know, wouldn't you? So, which side are you truly on? My LAPD police report is a document that you only have because of your privileged access to information in relations to the show Leah Remini Scientology in the Aftermath, in which I appeared, and you had access to that document because you pretended to be helping victims, and I believed you. Now, speaking of the existence of documents, You have misquoted me in relation to my seeking my mother's affidavit when you claim that I said it was useless. I never said that. I was describing that in the relation to the Australian case where the perpetrator had provided a detailed confession, it wouldn't be as high of a priority. Before the case could progress further, I didn't realize that you would twist my words. So, to clarify on that further, in relation to the U.S. case, the affidavit would be extremely valuable, especially as this case is waiting a decision to prosecute by the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office. An affidavit which includes admittance of knowledge of what happened to me could bear necessary weight to charge the case. I do not speak on behalf of law enforcement and their investigation. I only intended to communicate why it was otherwise personally and emotionally important for me, given that the affidavit was in my mother's words about the harm that was perpetrated against me. I have the right to speak about why that would be personally and emotionally important to me. You also portrayed that there was never a reason that I should wonder about the existence of this affidavit. And yet, there is an email from the production supervisor from back in 2017 which indicates that these documents did exist. And yes, she told me that the documents with my name on them couldn't be released to me, sorry, due to confidentiality. So then she goes on, she, as a little side note, she goes on and she reads about that she was in contact with the producer and that they, you know, said that the documents are there, but then that they um, couldn't release them to her because they have information about other cases. So let's see where it starts back up again. I hate dead air. It goes on to say that, he has made out like that she has made up the existence of these affidavits, but that she was told by the producer that they have them, and then she's also now been told that they had a verbal statement, like they're now trying to say, I'm sorry, my nose is still itching. They're now trying to say that the documents didn't exist. So apparently, the show reported that they had documents that didn't really exist. It's how I'm reading it. I could be wrong. So I'm just saying. Okay, so she wants to go on here with her statement with her letter to Mike Render. It says, you never confirmed back to me conclusively that the lawyer said that the affidavit was mentioned. Hold on, I think I'm in the wrong place. Oh, I hate when I do this. So I'll go on with the statement here with my letter to Mike Render. You never confirmed back to me conclusively that the lawyer said that the affidavit was mentioned to him verbally. See, so now they're saying that it was a verbal thing, not an actual written document. What you told me is that you had the information I needed, but that you would only give it to me if I gave you what you wanted. If your actions were purely fueled by your own paranoia, which is what you are clearly saying in your blog, when Claire Headley, who was in the position to see both sides, could have at any stage stepped in and helped. I thought she would protect me from your wrath and retaliations, but I was wrong. And then she goes on to she's talking a little bit there, and then she says, I never signed the waiver that Claire Headley thrust towards me the day before I spoke out publicly against you on Rabbit's channel. I never agreed to irrevocably and forever hold harmless the representatives of the Aftermath Foundation. I just want to inject something there. Um, saying that she would they wanted her to sign something that says that she would irrevocably and forever hold harmless the representatives of the Aftermath Foundation. Sounds a lot like a billion-year contract to me. Just saying. I never agreed to conduct myself in a cooperative manner at all times with its representatives. I never agreed to be silent about child sexual abuse and your omissions. You and I know how difficult it is to pursue a criminal case or across international waters. I've spent the last 12 years attempting to do just that. If I was currently living in the US, I would have filed a police report against you for your attempts to intimidate and harass me. But you enjoy the comforts of living across international borders and know that I cannot do anything about it. The only comfort that I take is that now the whole world knows you are a criminal. The difference between you and I is that in order to discredit me, you had to lie. I didn't have to do that. You talk about Scientology committing crimes, but beliefs don't commit crimes. People commit crimes. And one day your name will make international headlines in an article detailing the decades of child sexual abuse that you covered up. Maybe you'll write a blog about it. Every day, victims of sexual assault are marginalized. They are alienated and isolated. It is still one of the least understood crimes. Historically, cases, particularly ones where the crime took place during the victim's childhood, and especially if within an institution, are difficult to prosecute. My agenda is to expose Scientology in institutional harms to children, and that perpetuated the harm, whether in the past or currently. I am particularly focused on sexual assault victims because of my personal experience. Sexual assault victims are historically silenced and shamed. Sexual assault victims are intimate and evasive forms of violence. These victims are survivors of an often unseen and unheard war that for many continue to live on in their everyday life and prevent them from falling asleep at night. Do you know what that specific kind of torture or torment feels like? Victims can and should ask questions. They should be allowed to ask who and how, no matter how awkward or uncomfortable it makes people feel. We deserve to inquire about what happened to us, what happened to other children who were harmed in a similar way. We are not required to bear why we are not okay, we are not required to bear the weight of other people's crimes, living out our lives as good victims, quietly absorbing all the pain and discomfort into our own bodies. We don't have to suffer for others. We have the power to compel conversations and drive change. We can make a difference for each other, for ourselves. Sexual assault victims need recognition, and the harm that they experience needs acknowledging. They need to be seen and need to be heard. That is my agenda. If you do not believe that is worthy enough cause, then I respectfully request that you get out of my way. Sincerely, Miriam Francis. I applaud her. Gosh, you guys, she's a rock star and a superhero and just, oh, wow, just an amazing advocate, not only for herself, but for other sexual assault victims, child sexual assault victims. She she won my heart. I mean, she did when she spoke out in the beginning, but the way that she spoke so eloquently, and I did a butcher job on it. So y'all please go watch her. She reads it. and just go watch her and like and subscribe her channel, because I am just here in some ways to be a cheerleader, and in some ways to use my voice to further her voice and to further all the other voices that need to be heard. I truly, truly believe that every time one of us reads their statement or shows their videos or mentions their name, whatever it be, I I truly believe that we further the cause, that that's what we can do as never ends. I can we can never fully understand what they've gone through, and torment, and the how triggering that so much of this has to be. And do they think that this is easy for them to relive all this? I'm sure that this poor woman would just love to just move on with her life and put all this behind. But you know what? She's not doing that. She is stepping out of her comfort zone and fighting. She's fighting for herself. But you know what? She's fighting for every other little girl that was sexually assaulted by her parent or by someone else